Hi there you guys, hope you are well. I am very well because today the sun is out, as you can see, which is quite rare in this time of year here in where I live in Sweden. So yeah, we're having a sunny day and it's also quite crisp. We have some frost, so it's just below freezing point, just above 0 degrees Celsius here today, and it feels really good because today I'm sitting down to reflect about how autumn went and plan on my winter. So you know that I'm a big fan of this seasonal planning, and I've designed my own membership community to work alongside the seasons, and that's how we do our planning. So we're going to do this planning in my membership in a couple of weeks in the beginning of December. So yeah, I'm just a little bit ahead of schedule, and oh my god, I love to do this type of planning, so I'm very much looking forward to it. And I thought I would take you along in my planning today and talk a little bit about winter as a season for creativity, and talk a little bit about planning, choosing focus areas, those kind of things. And yeah, so the first thing I always start with when I'm doing my seasonal planning is to reflect about the season we're leaving behind. So that's what I'm gonna do first. I'm gonna sit down and think about how autumn went. And yeah, I feel like I have a lot to reflect on as well. So coming out of 6 months of taking my business full time, and then a couple of months of trying to figure out what I wanted my group offering to be, launching my new membership out of that, and yeah, and coming up to where we are now, where I've just launched my membership. We have been going for a week, and we've had a first group call, and I'm so excited about everyone who have joined and getting started together. So it feels like a really good time for me to take a little bit of a pause, reflect on what I've been doing, and think about what I'm gonna do in the season ahead. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna start. I'm gonna make myself a cup of tea and sit down with this is the winter workbook in 4 Seasons of Creative Work, which is my planning guide, which is also something you get in the membership. So I'm gonna sit down with this and use this first part to reflect about my autumn. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so I'm now done my autumn reflections, and I must say that autumn has been a really good season for me. So autumn tends to be the season when we get quite focused and we dive a little bit deeper into our creativity, and that holds very true for this season for me. So when I started it, I wasn't sure exactly how things would look. I was entering the last month of my 6-month leap, and I hadn't yet decided exactly what things would look like. But then during September, I decided to keep going full time. I quit my job that I had been on leave from for 6 months, and yeah. So when I sat down to plan my autumn, I didn't know quite what it would look like. I didn't know how much space I would have. So I kept things a little bit flexible and loose around the edges when I sat down to plan. But yeah, things went pretty much according to that plan, and things turned out pretty much the way I hoped they would. So there's one thing that I think turned out a little bit differently. So I had set a main focus that was to focus on my coaching and building trust in my coaching, which has been my focus area for a couple of seasons. And my secondary focus area was on doing some kind of group offering. And I think especially towards the second half of the autumn, my main focus was actually on the group offering that then turned into my membership. So yeah, I think that has been my main focus for probably October and November. So that sort of changed a little bit. But I think that's also because I didn't expect to come up with something that feels like such an integral, essential part of my business now, and really something that I want to hone and nurture going forward. So yeah, I expected to put together or launch a course or a group program, maybe some group coaching, those kind of things, something that I would do for a couple of weeks or a month or a few months maybe, and then I would sort of move on to other things. But when I started realizing that I actually wanted to do a membership community, then that is of course something that will run alongside my one-to-one coaching for the foreseeable future. So that became a bigger thing than I had expected, and I'm very glad that it did. So I think it makes complete sense that that became my main focus for a big part of the autumn. But it started out with not knowing quite what I was going to do. I held a free workshop, I held a paid workshop back in September, beginning of October. I tied up my 6-month leap, since my 6-month leap ended at the end of September. So I tied up that, created a lot of content around that, and then of course quitting my job. And then that sort of propelled me into, okay, what kind of group offering do I want to do? So yeah, I'm actually very pleased with how everything turned out. I'm glad that I did quit my job, and I'm glad that I didn't just launch a one-off course or program, that I decided to go ahead with this idea of a membership. The response has been really great as well. We're such a good gang in the membership. It's gone better than I sort of expected, which is also a sign that it really resonates with you guys, which of course is, it's super, super important. So yeah, I'm really happy with how things turn out. And I also got started with my novel again, which was also something I wanted to do in autumn. I haven't made a lot of progress with it. I'm still sort of in the reading through my latest draft, taking notes, thinking about how I want to change things going forward in my next draft. So I haven't made a lot of progress, but just working on it again, thinking about things, starting to sketch out what changes I want to make. It feels really good, it feels really fun, and it also feels great to have a project that is really my own, that is sort of, I talk about it, of course, here in my in the YouTube channel. I talk about it in my writing, but the project in itself is quite separate from like coaching, my best business things, things that I create for, and I like that I have a project that is mostly my own. There is very little pressure on it, and I'm okay with it taking time. I'm okay with if I rewrite it and it goes to publisher and it still gets rejected. I mean, that's fine. I know that it's a long journey if you want to become a published author. I know that's just the case, and I'm fine with that. So I really like having that project going alongside the other things as well. So very happy about that. So now I'm turning towards winter. So winter can be the season that, especially for those of us who live up north, is a quite dark season and is not a season that tends to be quite productive. And I think that the important thing here is to try to embrace winter for what it is. So when I started doing my seasonal planning, I did surveys with creatives to see how they worked in the different seasons. I did one survey at the end of each season so that people told me what they had been doing and how they had felt. And winter is one of the seasons that are lower on productivity, but it's high on reflection. And I'm feeling this so much right now. So coming out of 6 months leap and coming out of figuring out what I want to do with my membership and launching that, I really feel like this season I'm coming into is a season more for reflecting, more for coming back to sort of the core of what I do. I felt the same last year as well. I wanted to come back to the core and focus on the things that are sort of in the center, and not start any new projects, but really nurture the ones that I'm doing and reflect around what I've learned this year and how I want to move forward into the next year. So I think the key with winter is to try to embrace this, not try to expect that winter is going to be a super highly productive season. Look at if autumn, for example, has been a season where you have started things or done things or gotten a lot of good work done, think about how you in winter can not necessarily narrow, but make the expectations a little bit lower on the productivity output part of it. So for me, this looks like I'm still gonna be like creating the content that I'm creating, like this YouTube channel. I'm gonna keep writing my blog posts and newsletters and all of those things. But I'm not gonna be starting any big projects. I'm not gonna be very focused on new ideas. There is one thing that I know that I want to work on, but I'm gonna give myself plenty of time on it, and really prioritize sort of the things that are most important, and to make space for just reflecting and living in my creative life as well. I think that for me, autumn tends to be quite nerdy, and I'm diving deep and trying to understand things and figure out directions and how my sort of methods, and it's really nerdy season for me. And winter can be a much softer season, a much more letting things be a little bit open and not expecting everything to sort of be at the stage where it pays off, but be a little bit more open and flexible in what's gonna happen. So I am now gonna sit down and plan my winter, and very much looking forward to winter. I feel so ready for a season that is a little bit slower, a little bit less focused on productivity, a little bit more focused on reflecting and living in it and just having a good time in my creative life. So gonna plan my winter now, and then I'll tell you my plans and give you a couple more tips for planning your winter as well. So I've scooched up to the window here because I am quickly losing light. It's soon 3 p.m. and the sun goes down just after 3 p.m. So sun's gonna go down very soon, and I have done my the biggest part of my winter plan now. It feels really good, and yeah, I thought about what I want to focus on this winter and how I want to feel, and yeah, I'm excited. So if you watched these vlogs before or heard me talk about planning, I am a big fan of something I call focus areas, and I always have a main and a secondary focus area for each season. So my main focus area this winter will be on nurturing my new membership community. Keep growing it and it's still a very new community, so of course do the work together with my companions in creativity inside the membership as well. That will be my main focus, and I'm very happy to have that as my main focus. It has been a couple of weeks, months of getting it together, and now I'm so happy and excited to actually do the work in the community alongside my companions. So very excited to have that as my main focus, and it also feels like a good focus to have during winter, because while autumn for me is more of a development season, winter is more of a nurturing season, and circling in on the things that are in the core, that are important, and that are already built, and to keep going with that, to keep nurturing that. So that feels really good to have that. And my secondary focus will just be sort of what I call the core. So apart from the membership, my coaching, my content, the things that are sort of the core of my business. Those will be, that's enough of a focus for winter for me. Just to keep going with that, and then I have a little other section where I put things that I also want to do but are not as big of a focuses. So that will be my novel, to keep going with my novel, hopefully get to the point where I start writing a new draft as well. If not writing, then at least start planning out the next draft, what I want to do, what kind of changes I want to do. There are gotta be lots of new scenes that I have to sort of think about, and I tend to plan out those quite a lot. So definitely gonna do that work, hopefully start writing as well during winter. And novel writing is also something that I feel very good about doing in winter. It feels very cozy to cozy up during winter and keep working on my novel. It feels really good. Another thing I really enjoy in winter is on those days when we have gotten all the snow, and if the sun is out as well, it can, the most magical photos. Some of my favorite photos that I've taken during snowy, sunny days. So photography outside in nature when it's been snowing, that is something I love as well. So I hope we get a lot of snow this winter. We don't every winter here in the Stockholm area where I live, so we'll see. But I hope. So if you are sitting down to plan for your winter, I would say that, as always, don't plan in too much, but especially don't plan in too much during winter, because I think sometimes that we expect that winter should be a focused time and a super inspired time, a super motivated and productive time, because January and because of the new year. So we have this idea of January being a month when we kick things off and we set new goals, and it's being a very sort of go kind of season. And my experience from working with creatives and from my own life and the rest of the world is that winter is not that kind of season. And January, you can have that inspiration burst in January, but it tends to wear off, and we're still in the darkest part of the year. We're still in the time when we need to take things a little bit easier and be okay with things being a little bit easier, a little bit slower in winter. So I would encourage you to think about what kind of things do you tend to be drawn to in winter. Is it the reflections? If you enjoy the reflections, end of year reflections, thinking about the direction for the new year, do that, embrace that, and try to see winter as a time also for you to learn about your creative journey and what you really enjoy and what you want to do going forward. And see winter as a time when we sort of start laying a foundation for the rest of the next year. So in my planning guide, spring is the season when we more actually start the year, and winter is more of the time when we lay the foundation for that work that is going to happen in the year to come. So try to think of it like that. And if you have a lot of different things going on, or if you have been doing a lot of work, think about how you can soften that a little bit and maybe choose a little bit of a smaller circle that you work with during winter. Maybe like me, you're not big on new projects, for example, but maybe you're really good with keeping going with the things that you have or a certain part of your creative work. And yeah, really use those reflections to think about your creative journey and what you want, which direction you want it to take. So yeah, we're going to do this winter planning and also end of year reflections and new year direction and goals and choosing a word for the year in my membership community. So if you want to come and join us, you're more than welcome to do so. I'll leave a link to my membership community down in the description to the video as well. So yes, I'm gonna keep planning a little bit after the sun sets. It's so nice. While I've been planning, they have set up a Christmas tree out here outside of our house with some lights. It looks so nice, and I'm so excited for winter. I'm looking forward to first snow. We haven't had it yet, but it feels like it could be any day now. So fingers crossed. And I thought about how I want to feel this winter, and the word that I came up with was soft. I want to feel soft in winter. So while I've gone really deep in autumn, I really want to soften a little bit in winter and just do the work, enjoy it, and live my creative life. So I hope you enjoyed this little vlog, coming along with winter planning. And yeah, I hope you have a lovely rest of the day. If you enjoyed the video, give it a little like. If you're new here, hello and welcome. You can subscribe down below. And if you want to join us for winter planning, end of the year and new year planning, come join us in the membership as well. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!